Welcome to Bledsoe Said So, episode 143. This is a special episode. We are joined by my brother, Chris Bledsoe Jr. I almost said senior. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great, man. I'm happy to be here.
Heck yeah, you look. I love your outfit.
Thank you, dude. I wore it just for you.
The hat and the shirt is looking fly.
Yeah. Spaced out. Look. Just so y'all, so you can all see it. It's Bledsoe Said So merch. It's beautiful.
Chris, he every time I see him ever, and we live 2 hours away, every time I see him, he's repping.
Oh, yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
No matter where I go.
I don't care if we're in church.
I don't care if we're in
hats
the freaking
on.
Taj Mahal. I'm wearing that shit.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about before the cameras rolled. It's been almost 2 years since your episode came out.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's hard to believe that much time has passed.
Yeah.
It feels like yesterday.
It's wild.
It's freaking sweet.
I didn't realize it was 2 years. How has life been since?
Since the episode, it's been good. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but mostly good. It's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
It sounds cringy to say it, kind of, but to me, I mean, I needed it. It definitely helped.
Good.
Helped a lot.
Well, in addition to just your episode, but generally since the podcast came out, like, I want to say I asked Emily and Jeremy the same thing, but how, since we started going forward with this thing, I mean, haven't you noticed a change in our life?
Oh yeah, big time.
Like
Big
in what
time.
way?
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself in the moment how I feel. There was back in the day, I wasn't so open to everything. I'd get upset and freak out and complain if anybody even brought the topic up. And since that last episode, since the start of all of this, Bledsoe Said So, I've gotten a tremendous amount of support, and it's been good for me. It's helped me to open up. I can talk about it now, and that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
So it's helped me a lot, but it's also helped the rest of the family too.
Right.
It's brought us all back closer. We've always been close, I guess you could say, but it's definitely brought us together even more, I think.
Yeah. It's crazy when you hear that, or when I hear that, because it's like, man, we were just recording and putting it out there and had no clue it would have all that impact,
Well, it's nice to see that, my family supports me, because at the end of the day, it started off as me and Dad. We had these sightings, and I didn't know how that was going to go, and it pretty much went the way I thought it would, I guess. I knew that there was going to be a lot of family that wasn't really accepting of what we were talking about, but I see that the ones who matter accept me. So that's been awesome.
Yeah.
And Dad,
Yeah.
y'all have got our backs.
That's right. That's a good point too. Yeah, it's like the family that matters after all these years have our back.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I mean, you can tell them just as much as I can. There's still people that
Still to this day,
stick that knife in about
poking and prodding. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They always have something to say.
Something negative or whatever, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's been great though.
So what was it like being on the set of the History Channel?
Oh man.
Tell me about it. I want to hear all the details.
It was leagues different, like from the last episode that we did. That was, they were just two completely different feels.
You mean Discovery Channel?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, dude. Let's talk about Discovery and History.
Yeah, I mean, it was so different. And in the Discovery Channel show, they didn't even bring us lunch one day. Like, they took our orders and then didn't even bring the lunch, but brought everybody else's.
And ate in front of us in our house.
In our house.
Yeah.
But the History Channel, they took care of us. They were great. They were very supportive. There was no judgment coming from them. I felt judgment from the Discovery Channel people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was clear that some of them, I don't know, it was just different. The guys are nicer, easy to get along with.
Mm-hmm.
They were all excited. We saw orbs on the show, which was awesome, and it changed a lot of people's lives. The camera guys, I remember at one point the cameramen stopped what they were doing, and the director asked the cameramen, like, so what do y'all think? And he turned the camera on them, and they were all just blown away. They're like, we came here not really knowing what we're going to find, but now we're freaking believers. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. We didn't get anything like that on the Discovery Channel. They put us in a room, and they asked us the same question 1,000 times with a lie detector thing on us. Like, that's just, you feel the pressure.
Right.
In a situation like that.
They weren't out there like, let's,
yeah.
They were like,
they were interrogating.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
Yeah.
It's a different vibe.
It was crazy.
Right.
But it was great, man. The people were awesome. They were so great. I'm just thoroughly happy with it.
Good. I was real proud of you seeing that History Channel episode. How did that feel seeing yourself on there?
I was nervous as crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was worried to death. My episode that I did with y'all last, I didn't watch that episode for almost a year. Just because I'm very critical of myself. I'm my own biggest critic. But the History Channel thing, I watched it as soon as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Like right away, and loved it. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was super awesome.
Yeah. I may do something again with them one day.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see, right? Might just happen.
You never know.
It might just happen.
Yeah. What do you think? What did you think about all of it?
I thought it was badass, man.
It was.
Yeah, it was like, because I watched the first 3 episodes of the season because I was in anticipation of ours being the season finale, and I was excited. So I was like day 1 watching episode 1, and then week 2, and then week 3, and week 4 comes around, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Right. Honestly, I think I may have watched 1 episode before ours.
Right. That's my point. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just wait till our episode. I just wasn't hooked,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing was really happening. And we knew that when they came to record.
Right.
We were the last episode, and they were like, we haven't really,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
sensational, like
For sure.
And then when our episode came on, I was just blown away. I mean, you could tell that they dumped like more of the budget to make it a higher tier of production. I mean, compared to the 3 or 4 previous episodes I had seen, it was on another level.
They certainly brought the gear with them.
Yeah.
They had some expensive equipment, like that UFO DAP.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was awesome.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. I'm not a big tech guy, but I think they said that thing was linked to a supercomputer.
Yeah, and it was an AI program
cross-reference
linked to a maybe it wasn't a supercomputer, but it doesn't matter. It was linked to every flight database in the world. I mean, they explained it on the show, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But beyond the gear, dude, the editing of the episode. If you go and you watch episode 1 or 2 through 7, and then you watch our episode, it was like a completely different show.
Yeah,
like
definitely
the music, the composing, the editing, the storytelling. I mean, they really went all out, and I was very proud. For 1, of you and Dad, and then for 2, of the History Channel. I know that sounds weird, but for not screwing us over.
Yeah. I was definitely worried before I watched it. I was wondering what they put in of me, like what was I going to say? I couldn't remember. I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
Nervous as crap. But it all panned out.
Yeah.
I was definitely proud of myself. For sure.
You might not have caught this, but my voice was in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But I did try hard to get Bledsoe Said So on it.
I know. Do you remember that, Alex? Yeah. Well, you're not here with us today.
I remember it.
Oh, you do have a microphone.
I am here.
Yeah, we were freaking out, huh? Because Alex was here in Wilmington, and Dad was here, and you were home. So me and Alex watched it with Dad, and we were freaking out. I was laughing, dude, because I knew you had worn the hat, and it was blurred, and it was just like, come on.
I know.
But
you
they
didn't
only
fill out the paperwork.
I know, I did. But
we tried.
It's a meme.
Yeah, it's okay.
You could totally tell it was our hat too. They didn't blur it all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted me to wear a Carhartt beanie. I don't like beanies. I wear them like once a year maybe, if I don't have a hat to grab.
Right.
I would look like an idiot with that beanie on, so I had to rip my brother's stuff, you know?
Right. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What was it like riding on the boat?
It was very cold.
Yeah.
I came way underprepared. I don't know what I was thinking. I just brought one little jacket and I was freezing.
Dude, it was
It was
January.
like, yeah. It was, and we stayed all night pretty much. Not all night. We came home, I think like 1 o'clock, 12 to 1 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Damn.
We stayed out there pretty late.
Wow.
And it was like 30 degrees. It was
That's
tough.
crazy.
Yeah. You can't really tell from the video, but it was brutal.
Didn't y'all do like 10 miles up and down the Cape Fear River?
Something like that. Yeah.
Seeing orbs, and y'all had
Yeah.
drones flying around the boats and
Mhm.
stuff?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Was
it
that kind of crazy?
Really cool. Yeah, they were flying at nighttime with a drone.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That's wild, dude.
Mm-hmm.
How about the book, man? So the book, let's see, we recorded in January of last year. And obviously it goes without saying, my voice was in the show. I recorded with them too. Emily recorded with them too. We just didn't make the cut. That's another thing I was proud of, because that episode focused on you and Dad, and it was like the Discovery Channel thing came full circle.
Mm-hmm.
The crappy one from the past where
Yeah.
they tried to smear you guys
Yeah.
was dwarfed by the History Channel one.
It was a hit piece for sure.
Yeah, but then it was like you and Dad got your spotlight. That it was like righting the wrongs of the past.
Yeah.
I felt like I was
For
glad
sure.
I was cut. I was very relieved.
And how crazy is it we got freaking orbs on the History Channel?
Right.
That's nuts.
I might just have to go do it again
Yeah. Well, we will if the opportunity arises.
sooner than they think.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the book, man? So we recorded in January. Then the book came out the following month. How do you feel about the reception of the book?
Oh man. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I haven't read it, but I listened to it.
Right.
You know,
Well, that
I
counts.
bought the Audible, yeah. Yeah.
That
And I mean,
counts.
it's worth it. I'm a very busy guy and got kids, and also it's hard for me to sit down and read, but it was awesome. I was surprised to see that I was in it as much as I was, because I was in it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. I definitely got, it pulled at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
For sure. But it was freaking awesome. They did a killer job writing that book.
Yeah.
They did a killer job, and it's been well received, it seems,
Very.
from the rest of the world. A lot of people seem to like it.
It's like
Which is
a
awesome.
basically an Amazon bestseller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was a bestseller in multiple categories for some time.
Dad was explaining to me, dude, out of 30 million plus books on Amazon, it was in the top 300 of all books.
Wow,
That's wild.
it's crazy. It's crazy to me to see all the things that are happening in our lives. Coming from somebody who was, shamed and
Suppressed.
tortured by the rest of the community. All the people that I looked up to when I was a kid, my favorite people that I idolized, I wanted to be just like this person. I had several of them. I'm not going to name them, but all those, it seems like most of those people tortured me the worst
Right.
because of the UFO thing.
Yeah.
It's demonic, and you shouldn't be talking about stuff like that. It's not real. You had to have been on drugs, or I got so much judgment, different things from everybody. And that was terrible. That's brutal.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. When somebody that you love brings you down, talks down to you, that shit bothers you. But it feels like the book and the History Channel and all has kind of right that right. It's helped a lot.
Yeah, it's come full circle.
It's vindicated
Right.
me in a way.
You don't feel like you have to explain yourself anymore or defend
Yeah.
yourself.
And I never really did anyway. It is what it is. I saw it, and that's what it is.
Right.
But I feel like that's all was supposed to happen. It was a part of our story. I didn't see it that way before. I was very, very upset. I tried to run, and I didn't want to talk about it. Now it's all I want to talk about. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you see it? You said you didn't see it that way before. How do you see it now, our story?
Oh, I mean, I love it. I didn't always, but I do now. I realize it's an important story, and it's my story. So I've accepted it.
Good.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't know me, and they didn't really see what I went through. But how did it look from your perspective? You know, me, how I received it all those years ago. What do you think? How would you explain that?
Well, when I was a child, like from the ages of 13 to 18, I was jealous. In the sense that, I mean, I didn't understand. I was a child.
And I hated it.
Right. So just imagine, I mean, this is kind of one of my major encounters, but I don't know if you know this story, actually. Do you want to hear it?
With the cow?
You do know that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dude, I've listened to almost every episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know every story I've ever told.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But I was always like, Dad, he didn't even want to be there.
Mhm.
And here I am coming out with you every night, and I'm not seeing what he saw. What gives? And he's like, you need to freaking humble yourself,
I didn't want to see it.
Right, and I did.
It's crazy because I thought I did. I did, but I didn't know. I didn't really know.
Do you want to say what you said?
We'll leave that to Derek to explain.
Okay.
On his episode, he can explain it.
Okay. You know what I was getting at?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. Do you remember when we were little kids, when we lived in our second Gates 4 house, and me and you and Jeremy would sit around and be like, what would you ask God if you were dead and you were talking to him? Do you remember what you used to say?
I don't.
I would ask God if aliens are real.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I guess he answered.
Be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That'll make sense when we tell that story on a future episode with
Yeah.
Derek, the thing that you said. But no, it's crazy. That always seemed to be some crazy theme in our childhood. Like we were always fascinated by life out there and that subject, and I guess we got more than we bargained for.
Mm-hmm.
But
crazy. Yeah, I didn't know what I was asking for.
right.
I had no clue how hard it would hit. It's it's one thing to see something, but all the emotions that come with it and all the people that come after you for telling it, that's the stuff you don't see.
Right.
It's hard to understand, but it's not all as easy and pretty as it seems.
Do you get the sense that it's all destiny in a way?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah.
But you didn't then.
No, I didn't. No, dude, I was a kid. I was a little kid, 17-year-old kid. And I was petrified. Couldn't sleep with the light off for many years.
Because of this.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm the kid that would do massive jumps on a four-wheeler. I would jump out of an airplane if I had the chance.
Or go hunting in the woods at night.
I'm a scuba diver. Yeah. I'll go and shoot a black bear that's standing up in front of my face and feel and I don't feel anything. Yeah, I don't feel
fear.
Yeah. But that stuff will scare you to your core. And just that's not the same kid that sleeps with the light on, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine, man. Like, I'm kind of lucky in a sense because you saw all this stuff, and I mean, I hate to say it, but call it what it is. You were basically traumatized.
Yeah.
And then
I can see that.
Yeah, and then us hearing about it, I never really had that fear. So I just remember being, after the experience, hearing about it from you and Dad, I just remember going out and walking to the woods at night and hoping to see it, and I never would. And I mean, I would see orbs in the sky, but never, entities in the forest or whatever like you did. I mean, I've ended up seeing stuff like that, but not back then.
At that time, you wanted
At that time, I was desperate. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say I was jealous. Like, I really wanted to see what you saw. And I mean, I've seen close enough, but you know. And then talk about full circle. What about January 8th of this year? What happened?
Yeah, man, that was wild. So on January 8th, I was doing a job. For all those that are listening, I do construction, just like my father. He taught me. And I've been doing it a long time, since I was 16. And I manage a small business, kind of. And I happened to be working on Marsh Road, which is the exact same road that spot on the river is on January 8th, which is,
The day it
it
happened.
was my 17th year anniversary, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
17 years.
And you
And,
were 17 when it happened.
And I was 17 when it happened, yeah. So me and Derek, and I think there was another guy there. I think, yeah, we had one more guy there. And we were outside cleaning or cutting material or whatever, and I realized that it was that day. And I realized that I was on that same road in that same spot on that same day. And something just told me to look up. And I did, and there was an orb in the daytime flying. So I whipped my phone out and I took a video of it. But I really thought that it was crazy that 17 years later, exactly,
To
on
the
the
day.
same day, in the daytime,
In the same location.
in the same location, technically, I saw another one and recorded it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's wild,
What
man.
is the chances of that? All that to just line up. That can't be for nothing. It was supposed to happen.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe it was all just coincidence. I don't know. But it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah. That's pretty
A
crazy.
lot of things lined up for that to happen.
Dad says you have a unique gift. That we
'Cause I
all
see
have
'em in
unique
the
gifts.
day.
You see them in the day.
And I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that that's a gift, but it just happens. It happens a lot. I've recorded quite a few in the day in the last couple of years.
Right. That's
And it's
crazy.
not always me who sees it the first time. One time Vincent saw it first. We were out in the backyard sitting on the swing pushing the baby, and Vincent was like, "What is that?" and pointed up at this thing in the sky. And I didn't think about this until now, but just like January 8th, there was an airplane flying at the same time as this object. The object clearly has no wings.
Mhm.
It looks like a little tic tac kind of.
Like a bright light.
Yeah,
A solid
a
light.
light in the daytime. And you can tell it's not a craft.
Yeah, it's not an
And-
airplane shining a light in the
Yeah,
day.
and an airplane flies by in the footage. So you can clearly see this is an airplane, this is something else. Both videos,
Wow.
which is awesome. Context.
Yeah, I don't see them a whole lot in the day, if I'm going to be honest
But
with
I'm
you.
out in the day every day.
So, there's a lot of people out in the day every day. All over the
But
world,
they're
every
not
day.
all looking up. I'm saying you'd probably see them in the day too, but you're not out in the day looking up like me.
Right.
I'm out there every day.
I mean, that could be the case.
Could be. I don't know.
Or, my thought was...
Maybe I do have a gift.
Yeah, my thought was they appear to you that way to be disarming.
So I'm not petrified.
Yeah, possibly.
You know what's crazy? I really don't get that freaked out anymore like I used to. I do sometimes, if I'm like alone in the dark and I hear a bump and, or I see something out of it, maybe I'll start to freak out, and I'll sometimes freak myself out more than other times. But for the most part, it doesn't really bother me. If I'm outside and I'm by myself in the darkness and I see an orb, I'm just like, wow, cool, another one.
Good.
Just like anybody else.
What do you think it was that clicked in your brain to where you weren't afraid anymore?
That's kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The episode I did with y'all, it
History
definitely
Channel.
helped a lot, tremendously. All of it combined has helped me to talk about it easier. I mean, I moved all over the country. I moved to Kalamazoo, California, all over, just trying to get away from family and UFOs and everything else.
Is that why you left?
I wouldn't put it on that, 100%. There was many reasons, but yeah, I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah.
Me and Dad got into it a couple times, and it was all me. It wasn't really him getting it. It was me. I would get anxiety when I would hear aliens or the topic would come up. I would be thinking about the people we're with, and now it's got to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this guy, and it was often when other people were around, and being young, I was always worried what everybody thought. I was worried about my appearance. I was young and wanted to build a reputation. I was proud of my name and who I was, the family that I was born into, and then all that kind of like pushed me down, I felt. It diminished my reputation in town, and it did.
Well, I mean, they did kind of do that to you on TV, so it's a pretty reasonable thing to be disappointed about.
Yeah, so I ran and hid, and I went through some really dark times. But it's what I needed to go through. I wouldn't change any of it. If I did, I wouldn't have what I do now. I wouldn't have beautiful babies and a beautiful Jessica and, the business that I have and family that supports me. Who knows what our lives would be like if it all didn't happen. So that's kind of how I try to look at it.
You realize 99% of the world has not been smeared on TV, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That's not normal.
That's
not a conventional thing.
Crap to go through when you're 17, for sure.
Right.
And you're dating girls and making new friends, and
That's
everybody
the hard part.
knows. Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Everybody knows. And then you got to worry in the back of your mind, do my new friends or girlfriends think I'm a complete freaking nut job?
Mm-hmm.
Because they probably do. They might.
If they don't, they're not going to tell you.
And it's a wonder you have. It just plagues the back of your mind constantly.
It goes two ways, and you can say if I'm making this up. It goes two ways. They don't tell you that they think you're crazy.
But you can see it in their eye.
They tell everyone around you.
Yeah, for sure.
Or they tell you you're crazy.
Yeah.
Or
they believe you.
Well, yeah, that's the good way.
That's the good way.
I mean, the two bad ways it goes.
Yeah,
you either tell them and they don't react, and then they go tell everybody around you.
Now it seems to be that most everybody leans on the good way.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
There's just been enough that's happened publicly now that people can't really, you can say, oh, well, it's a seagull and the sun's flashing off his wings at just the right angle and it's making this little, I've heard all that, but something's going on.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. Come out our house, come hang out and skywatch with us, and I guarantee you we'll change your mind. Guarantee it. It did it to the Discovery Channel, the History Channel. I mean, it's done it to pastors even.
Yeah, true. Yeah. This
even
past week.
Pastors. Yeah, this past week.
Do you want to tell a little bit about that?
I mean, I don't really want to.
We don't have to give details.
The man's name, or you tell it.
Okay, sure. So right now, Junior is actually, I guess, living with me is fair because you're living in my house.
Yeah.
And I'm living in my apartment.
Yeah.
Across the street.
Just for a month.
Yeah. So he's living with me for a month.
Yeah.
Because I just closed on a house about 2 weeks ago, and it's a 1970s house. So
I have destroyed it.
Yeah. Just gutted the floors.
I've gutted it.
Gutted the floors, and we're just doing a whole remodel job. So he's a contractor.
We're gonna build it back better though.
Oh yeah. No, I'm starting to see it, especially after today. What y'all were laying on the floor and putting that underlayment, that smooth, clean underlayment on top of that ugly old particle board from freaking 1975. Like, I'm starting to see it in my mind's eye. It's gonna look great.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
I don't have the eye for this. I need to be several steps in before I really can start to visualize what it's going to look at. But I'm starting to see. But anyway, so he's living with me for a month, and it's been going great. I mean, we've been having fun, and there's been like barely any bumps in the road at all. It's just been smooth sailing. Last night me, Junior, Derek,
and And two others.
And two others. My cousin Warren, who's been on the show, and Nick.
Everybody's buddy Nick.
Yeah, everybody's heartthrob Nick.
Yeah.
We had a whole Magic the Gathering night last night. They're kind of breaking me into it. I'm new to it, and
I'm new as well, really. 2 months in or so, 2.5 months.
well, I'm 2 games in.
Yeah.
So,
It's been an awesome 2 games.
and we just like camped out in my empty house. They're staying on air mattresses in the living room, and I live across the street, so pop
Yeah.
over there, and it's been a blast,
It's
man.
awesome.
Just this experience. And anyway, so since he's been here, Dad says, "Hey, Ryan, got a friend named Chris. He's coming to town Tuesday of last week, and we're gonna go dinner with him. We're gonna go sky watching. He's a pastor." And I was like, "Okay, sounds great." And we meet the guy, very sincere, right? I mean,
yeah, he was awesome.
very humble.
I liked him a lot.
He was calm and thoughtful with every word he said.
Yeah.
He had a very reassuring atmosphere about him. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but I feel things from people, and what I felt from him was very good.
I'm the same way. I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but a lot of the time when people have done us wrong, I've been able to see it. I can feel it
in your gut
beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I would tell Dad and other people like, "Hey, this guy you got to watch out for."
Yep. He don't always listen.
And then sure enough.
But Dad does what he wants.
Yeah.
There's been a million people.
Normally he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing.
He's 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Every time.
Ahead of me for sure.
He's just
I
always
I
10
barely
steps
think
ahead.
1 step ahead.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that.
I'm being modest.
But Dad's always plotting 10 steps ahead, and he knows what he's doing, and he's not always telling you what he's doing. And I'm like, Dad, this guy's, not the one we're talking about, but just anybody. Dad, this guy's weird. And
Dad also sees the best in everybody.
yeah, he
Kind
does.
of.
He does.
He has always had a problem his whole life, my whole life anyway, of doing too much for people and allowing people to take advantage of him.
Yeah.
And it's happened time and time and time again to family, friends, everybody. Like when he lost his business, he was just giving out
Just giving
people
himself
were
away.
taking from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so good-hearted.
Trusting.
But I'm not so trusting. Not after all of what we've been through. How could I be?
Yeah. He's definitely a very compassionate guy. He just would give you anything.
Yeah.
He's really the real deal. But yeah, so this guy comes and we go to dinner with him, and just very sincere, thoughtful guy. And he's a pastor over a really big church.
Massive.
Yeah. And I'm talking to him. I'd like to get him on the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we go out sky watching, and it was like, dang, dude, it was within 30 seconds.
Let me say something. So it was a rainy day, right? Or it was going to rain the next day.
Yeah.
Either way, there were clouds.
It was a cloudy.
Everywhere.
Right.
Like
Dark clouds.
when we left the place we went to eat, we were all talking about how this probably isn't the best day to skywatch. The clouds are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, after 5 or so minutes of being at the beach, there were no clouds above us, but there were clouds everywhere else.
Right.
You remember?
Yeah.
I felt like the freaking clouds just opened up for us.
Yeah.
Probably didn't happen that way, but it seemed
Dad
that
said the
way.
same thing.
Yeah. Like there was just a big ring of nothing right above us.
It's cloud busting.
Yeah.
I've seen it many times, man.
Yeah.
Me and Dad will sit out there. It'll be a cloudy night, and he'll be like, John Alexander taught me about cloud busting. Okay, Dad. And then we'll stare at the clouds, and we'll think about it, and phew, they're gone. I think it's real. Sure has happened a lot in my experience.
Happened, yeah.
There's been a lot of nights out there where...
We changed that man's life.
Yeah, basically. We got out there, and within 30 seconds, those orbs appeared.
They changed his life.
Right. And he was just blown away. And it was such a nasty weather night that we saw 8 orbs.
Yeah.
And he was like...
Man, we weren't even out there for like 30 minutes maybe. I don't know. An
Probably
hour maybe?
something. It wasn't long.
It wasn't long.
'Cause it was
like,
freezing.
You know what? I think I've seen enough. I would say what we just saw was good enough.
Yeah.
He went his whole life and hadn't seen one and then saw 8. He was like, okay, we can go.
Well, dude, I don't know if you noticed this. It was like 40 degrees. Freezing. He was in jeans
Yeah.
and like a little,
It was cold.
like a denim coat, dude. He wasn't in,
right.
and he was standing out there
Yeah.
looking at the orbs.
Excited.
And he was at all costs, I have to be here. And then
Mhm.
at the end of the time, he said, guys, I have to say, I mean, I'm not trying to complain about the cold. Like I'm no wimp, but I think I've seen enough.
Mhm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And then we got out of there, and his jaw was just on the floor, and he was just the nicest guy, and he was like, I want to support you.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I said he's probably not seen anything his whole life. That might not be true.
He told me he'd seen one orb
Yeah.
on his own,
Yeah,
and he showed me a video.
I was taking a step back. I think I might have misspoke, but I really believe he would be an awesome guest.
Oh, me too.
And we're going to probably get him on.
When we get our new studio set up, I want to
Yeah.
start trying to roll out guests more because we're switching our schedule around and,
Sure.
you know, the guests that travel out of town. But it was super cool. He told me that, I mean, keep in mind, this guy is a pastor over a church
Dude.
that is so massive. There's like 700 preachers, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
And he told me when we were walking off the beach, he was like, I've seen a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of signs and miracles, but the one thing I needed in my life was that external, nobody just sees.
I think I'm going to go to and visit his church one day. I want to go. The one that he preaches at.
You should.
And it's kind of crazy. One of the last times I spoke to a preacher about UFOs, he was throwing holy water in my bedroom.
Yep.
That happened. They were putting oils
Anointing.
and anointing me or my bedroom or whatnot because of the UFO thing. They did it to Dad as well.
Dude, I was in the room. I was like 13 years old, 14
They did it
years
to
old.
me.
I saw, I'm not going to say his name, and it doesn't matter anyway, but I saw, let's just say one of our grandparents' previous pastors on Dad's side, anointing Dad,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get the freaking devil out of him.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there, dude. I'm a
I was
child.
there too.
I'm Vinny's age. Imagine little Vincent. I was that age.
It's heartbreaking.
Sitting in the corner of the room, horrified. Like,
Yeah, and that just means something's wrong with our dad.
Or
That's the
there's-
way we see it. Something's obviously wrong if they're anointing him and spraying holy water all over.
do you know where else I've seen that?
And The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Right. That's what I'm
Or
saying.
Amityville Horror, or some
Yeah,
messed
so
up
It messes you up.
horror film. Yeah,
Right.
and I saw it for real. And
Yeah.
Dad wasn't
They did it
possessed.
to me too.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but
Yeah,
that's
they did.
that's
They did.
insane.
They literally did it to me and in my room. Because, I told the story too.
Yeah.
I remember that story being told in a previous episode or so, but it happened to me too.
That's damaging.
Yeah. And I knew the preacher really well. I went to his church.
Right.
And now I know he's judging me. Now I know that he thinks what I saw is demonic. So who do you believe? I saw it. Do I believe the church? That they're saying that what I saw is demonic. That
Well, they've
I'm
never
playing
seen
with
anything, so why would I believe them?
Right.
They've
So
read
it
a piece
wasn't
of paper.
demonic. It
They're
might have
reading a
been
piece of paper,
scary,
dude.
But yeah, they don't know.
Right.
That's sad.
What's worse? It's like, is it worse that you're telling me I'm crazy and I'm a liar and you don't believe me? Or is it worse that you do believe I saw something, but you think it's the devil?
Right.
What's worse?
But how do you know it's the devil?
Right.
Like, how can you be so arrogant to say, oh, it's the devil? You don't know nothing. Anybody that's out there saying, it's the devil, they don't know.
Right.
That's just what they want to believe.
Exactly.
It's sad. You know, if you looked at scriptures from the Bible and you looked at most of the times that people saw angels, they were freaking terrified. They had fiery eyes.
They're prostrate on their face
Yeah.
in fear.
And the angel would say things like, fear not, for I am an angel of the Lord. Stuff like that. So obviously it was freaking that guy out. He was scared to death.
Or they'd have a booming voice and they'd be in
Yeah.
this spinning metal wheel within a wheel on fire with these animal faces. I mean, they're weird.
Mm-hmm.
And-
So, somebody who just didn't know any better would think it's demonic.
Angels certainly probably well, okay, I might sound like a hypocrite. I was gonna say angels certainly are not pretty blonde boys with swords, but
No.
Dad did kind of see a pretty blonde lady, so maybe they are. I
She
don't
didn't
know.
have the sword.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't think anything is quite as they explain it.
Right.
The picture that we have in our heads of Christianity and angels isn't quite what it is, what it actually is. I don't think so.
I think so too.
I think man has tried to explain it for 1,000 years, and they've just kept explaining it and kept interpreting it so many different ways.
Kept profiting
Who
off of it.
knows? Yeah. Who knows what it actually was? We know what it is now. We know the picture the church paints, but that doesn't mean that that's the way it really is.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that if it was a demon, it didn't jump in my body. It didn't take over me. I didn't start freaking screaming and ripping
Spinning
my
your head
skin
around.
off. Yeah. I didn't try and pluck all my toenails off. You know,
And puke green.
yeah. Yeah, I was upset and I might have cried about it, and it may have tormented me for a while, but it wasn't like that.
You know, I want you to give your input on this because it's your life and not mine. But I really do believe that it was meant to go down that way.
I do too.
This is gonna sound so weird.
It was part of the story. I know that.
Your suffering was part of the story,
I
in
know.
some strange way.
I know. That's what I was thinking earlier, but I couldn't really get out. I'm not really great with words. But that's how I feel. I know that. I know that to be true. I had to go through all that to be who I am now. I think people who really go through a lot end up being a little happier than the average person.
Yeah,
You know,
I think
because
so.
I know what it's like to really go through some shit times. So that my normal everyday life is great.
Do you know what people tell me about you behind your back now? I don't mean then.
No,
No,
telling.
it's not bad. I mean now.
What?
They tell me things like for example, Nick's dad. When you met Nick's dad,
Well,
Robert.
I know it's great.
Yeah,
I
it's,
love Robert.
yeah. You met him really back when we did that second episode. Don't you remember we did that episode at Casey's dad's house on the back porch?
Yeah.
Well,
I was wearing the tank top. It was hot.
yeah, it was.
I regretted that I wore that shirt.
It's all
It
right.
was undershirt.
But
I looked terrible.
anyway, so back when we did that, and you really had the opportunity to meet Nick's dad for the first time, y'all hung out that day. Y'all got a lot of time together, and then after you left, he was like, Nick, Chris Jr. is just the kindest soul I've ever met. I just looked into his eyes, and I went home and cried. And there was a depth to his soul that I just can't explain. I just want to be his friend. You know who else says that? My mother-in-law.
Really?
And yeah, and countless other people have met you, hugged you, interacted with you, and they're like, holy shit, he's the nicest guy I've ever met.
Hmm.
Now, how is that possible? Why would that be emanating from you? It's because you've been through something harsher and more severe and deeper than most people can fathom.
Yeah.
And I believe it's like karmic retribution. Like the more you suffer in life and obviously heal from it and learn your lessons and come back, it's like the deeper your well of compassion is in your soul. Like there's an
Yeah.
energy that
Yeah.
comes from you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Well, that's nice to hear.
They don't all say bad things.
I'm not the best, but I try hard every day.
But
That's what
I don't know.
matters.
I think, yeah, I mean, as much as it sucked, you were supposed
Yeah.
to go through all that stuff. And even not just for you individually, but for the world. Like to kind of, I don't know how to get the words out, and I want it to sound appropriate, but like to be the model for everyone going forward who learns about this. You and Dad that night, it was supposed to be traumatic. It was supposed to be messed up and horrifying, but really it was good in the end, you know.
Sure.
Something about that is just impactful to people. I mean,
It's life changing.
you know how many people message me because of the podcast, social media, and all this stuff we're doing, and I'm like open to messages on multiple different accounts, and now the Discord with like nearly 400 people in there. You have no clue how many people I get saying, I'm seeing orbs, or it's like, oh my God, I want to see him. What do I do? People desperate to see him.
Yeah.
Little do they know when this began, when the phenomenon truly started interacting and making themselves known to the world. They traumatized little old 17-year-old Chris, and then everybody else, I want to see him. What do I do? It's like, are you sure? Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
You sure? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The truth's gonna come out
Yeah.
when it's supposed to. I mean, it's crazy to me that the government's talking about it now.
Yeah.
I just can't get over that. Back in 2008, no normal people were talking about it. Not that I knew.
Right. No, they
The
weren't.
government certainly wasn't.
They weren't until like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Now everybody's talking about aliens. They're so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you have a book?
Yeah, we were pushed away because of it.
Yeah, we were treated like lepers.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now we're cool.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? And don't you remember when we were kids and then we had people from NASA and people from the CIA coming around being like, you're going to be tapped.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Throw that on top of the shit.
You're going to have satellites over your house forever.
Yeah. As if we weren't, dealing with enough.
All right. Already scared out of our minds.
Right.
Scared about the UFOs. Now we got to be scared about the government too.
Yeah.
And that is a real fear.
Yeah, they were telling us to be afraid.
Yeah.
They're like, you should be afraid. You're going to be tapped your whole life.
A couple years ago, we would have killed you for this.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that.
I could put a bullet in your head.
Yep. I've heard that too.
Or run you off the road and kill you with a Mack truck. We can do whatever we want. Make you disappear if you go talk about it.
Drop you out of a helicopter at 30,000 feet.
So that's why I went and talked about it. That's why I started the podcast.
Nice.
It was, you're not going to tell me what to do.
Good.
And then the other reason was I don't know, I guess deep down I felt like if I was doing this, it would be like defending you and Dad. But I don't know if it's had that effect or not.
Yeah. It definitely has. For both me and Dad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
And I want to say, like, we talked about the how it was scary in the beginning and how you saw not orbs, but entities. You saw beings face to face from just a few feet away in the woods. And, people have read the book. I'm sure they know the story if they're listening to this by now. We don't have to go into all the details. I know that was scary, but I don't want people to think that it's supposed to be scary. What I'm trying to say is I think it was supposed to be scary for you.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I get it. I get it.
I don't know why.
Me neither.
But I've always felt like that was meant to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Could never understand why.
And that you would come around in the future. And here you are.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I still get a little emotional talking about that one. About that particular incident, having to relive it and go over it and all. It's still a little hard, I guess you could say. But it's definitely gotten a lot easier.
Good.
It's definitely... Back in the day, I literally couldn't talk about it. I really had a hard time. It was crazy. It was a lot different.
Yeah.
I don't know why. If I ever even thought about UFOs, it felt like my brain was going to explode.
We didn't talk about it for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I remember the night that
I didn't remember it being so long, but I'm sure it was.
I know it was.
I'm sure it was. I just wasn't, I'm not thinking about stuff like that.
I know how old I was both the first 2 times we talked about it, and I was 13 and 18.
And I wasn't exactly staying at home all the time back then either. I was all over the place.
Anytime it came up, you would leave.
It probably was, yeah. Yep. Anytime it was brought up, I would leave. I would complain about it. I would yell or whatever, I don't want to hear this stuff. Don't talk about it around me. Why do you always got to talk about, stuff like that?
Yeah, I don't know them. I don't want to talk about it with them.
Yeah.
I don't trust them. I remember that.
Yeah.
So what do you think they are? They've heard what I think. They've heard, what Dad thinks. What do you think? What do you feel they are? You've seen them closer than anyone, really.
Well, for a long time, for many, 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 many years, people have been seeing something. I think people, even in ancient texts, have been describing beings, that they called angels. I think that's what it is. I think we're seeing those same things that people were describing back in those old times. And I think that's what we're seeing. These things, I think they've been here for a long time. They've been watching us for a long, long, long time. I don't think they just popped in from freaking Zebulon for a cup of tea. I think they've been here. They've been orchestrating and pulling the strings for a long time.
Yeah.
What people would call angels. I think that's kind of what it is. I don't think it's exactly as, the Bible would say it, or exactly as your preacher would say it, but
It's complicated.
yeah, it's much different.
Cool.
I think that they, can pop in and out of dimensions. I don't think that they're going across the universe. I think there might be another plane of his existence right here over top of us that you can't see. And they're coming in and out. I don't know, though.
I think so too.
I don't know for sure, but from all that I've heard over the years, talking with CIA and NASA people, I've heard a lot of different things.
Right.
Some crazy stuff.
Well, Chris, more important than that stuff you've heard from them, you've seen it 1,000 times more than anybody else on the planet other than dad and your brothers and sister and mother. You've seen it so many times that your brain is making these leaps in reasoning to paint these models of how they behave, how you're observing them behave. I mean, you have a pretty damn good idea of what they are.
There was a time, for a short span of time, that I was having this sleep paralysis thing. And I'll tell the story if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
I would wake up and I couldn't move, like any other sleep paralysis thing. And I would just be looking around. I couldn't really move. I may have been able to move my head. I can't remember. But I remember, and the reason I say this is because I could see pretty much one time there was a dresser beside my bed. And on the floor, I could see the red eyes of the beings that I saw before. And it looked like they were like peeking out from under the dresser. As stupid as that sounds.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was very dark and all I could see were those eyes, but it looked like it was ground level again, which that if you know my story, I've seen that before, right? But I couldn't move and I'm freaking out and I'm seeing these freaking eyes, and then all of a sudden I can move. And they're gone, and I jump up and run into Dad's room. I think he was laying on the couch in the red room.
Which was across from your bedroom.
Yes. And it was late at night, and I went in there and I talked. I woke him up and I was like, Dad, you won't believe what just happened. And he said, son, next time that happens, just say Jesus' name. And everything is going to be all right. And I think I laid down with him and went to sleep, in there with him. Not on the same couch, of course, but I went to sleep in the same room with him. And, a time later, the same thing happened again. And there was a part that I left out. I could hear this loud, like, it was moving my body. It was so loud, this vibration, this humming sound. It was like, whoom, 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 whoom. It was real, real crazy, dude. It felt like it was vibrating my body. It was very, very loud to me. And all of it just freaked me slam out.
Yeah.
But it happened again. I opened my eyes. I'm laying on my back. And I could see these creatures. And I hear that whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. And I said Jesus' name. Like, I remembered what Dad said. And it went away.
Wow.
Yep. And I went right to sleep. I wasn't scared. I felt comforted, and I just went right to sleep. And I thought that was so crazy. Because knowing me, at the first thought of anything like that, I'm not going to sleep. I'm definitely not. But it worked. I don't know if, I don't know why or what, but it happened.
Wow. The one time I had sleep paralysis, I did the same thing. I said Jesus' name, and it was just like phew, the demon or whatever it was. I mean, it wasn't like yours where you were seeing something in your room. Mine was like a vivid nightmare that was like sleep paralysis, and it was some weird demon. And I said Jesus' name, and it was gone. Even in dreams, it works. Got to be something to it.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just in my head, if I was dreaming, if those things were there. I don't know. But it happened. And when I said Jesus' name, it stopped. Right then. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think a really powerful story is when you were about 19 and you had a surgery and you were still on anesthesia and you were riding home with Mom.
Yeah.
Remember the story?
I remember being told.
Yeah.
And I do remember I remember bits and pieces of it, but I wasn't all there.
Right. You were riding home in the passenger seat of the car, and there was like a Mack truck in front of you and Mom, and it was like hitting the brakes, and the brake lights started lighting up, and you were like, Mom, it's the eyes.
Yeah.
And ever since that moment, Mom was changed. Like, you know how she is, man.
Mm-hmm.
She goes through cycles of like, oh my gosh, this is so fun, and this and that and the other, and then she goes through cycles of like, I don't want to deal with any of it. But
yeah,
I think after that moment, she knew at least that you weren't lying.
that's what she always told me.
Yeah, she told me that. He can't be lying. He wouldn't have done that on anesthesia. I'm like, duh, Mom, he's not lying. Never has been.
Yeah, it's crazy. I always knew that she thought I was a liar.
Yeah.
I don't blame her for it. Anybody else that came out saying the same shit I was saying, I would have probably thought the same stuff.
Yeah, I don't
Think
blame
about
her
it
anymore.
from someone else's perspective. It does sound crazy. It is fucking crazy. But it happened.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame her either. I don't blame anybody, really. The only ones I blame are the ones who are really hateful and go out of their way to
Right.
keep sticking that knife in.
Yeah, and they're still out there sticking in that knife.
Yep.
But it's okay. They have their own place in the world, and they need to be there.
Yeah. It's true. Jenny wanted me to ask you, what have you learned from Teddy?
What have I learned from Teddy?
Yeah. I mean, it's been about 4 years with him now.
Well, I learned how to change a diaper. I can now put clothes on a baby. I can bathe a baby. I learned how to do that. Yeah. I'm really good at like pushing a swing too. I can do that really well. I learned how to do that. Pushing
That's
a swing.
funny.
And, yeah. But as far as UFOs go,
I don't mean that. I just mean in general.
a whole lot.
Yeah.
I learned how to be selfless, how to take care of someone else first over my own needs. If you have a baby, all the things you enjoy doing, you might want to put them to the side for a while, and you got to focus on the baby.
Isn't the baby more fun than all that stuff, though?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I love it.
It's a lot
I'd
more
have
fun.
5 of them if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's great.
He's in his little karate uniform going to karate every week now.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's
Me
one of
too.
the greatest things I've ever learned.
Seeing him spar other kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's so cute. Those little teeny punches.
And he's just running around in circles with his little karate gear on with helmet head to toe, and he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He's just running
He
around.
just runs right up to him and takes one
Uh-huh.
right at the face.
Just 3-year-olds in karate gear. It's funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's a funny kid. This weekend was Easter, and just
I want to hear about that.
you do?
If y'all can talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
I heard y'all had a pretty wild night.
You wanna hear
couldn't
it?
Be there. Yeah.
Did I tell you about it?
I think so. Yeah, I think you may have told me a little bit, but we're on camera, so.
Well, I mean, yeah, this would probably be the best
This is
episode
the
I
time.
could tell it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the time, and it just happened. Yeah, I can go into that. So this past weekend was Easter. Today is April 3rd. Obviously, Easter was literally 3 days ago. So, it's funny because I've had tons of messages. I'm getting comments on Instagram, YouTube, being like, did you have a blessing on Easter? Did you have a blessing on Easter? I'm looking at YouTube today. Did you guys have a blessing on Easter? Can you report? I'm getting emails. I'm getting Patreon comments. I'm getting Instagram comments. There's been this mystique built up around Easter because of the lady and Dad having, profound experiences, and things always happen on Easter every year. So short answer, yes. So here's what happened. I go to town Friday night. Junior goes to town too, after having been here a week. Now, granted, we live 2 hours away from Dad, or I do, and Junior is temporarily. So we both go to town to Fayetteville on Friday. Junior goes home. We get Teddy and keep him with us for the weekend. And that was part of the story that I was going to explain. And we go out Friday night. Okay, so here's what happened. So me and Jenny get to Fayetteville around 7 p.m. And I get in the door, and Mom's like, let's go to Mikasitas. Let's get dinner, And I'm like, great. Sounds great. We're starving. And Dad's like, God, I want to go out and skywatch. I don't want to go waste time at a restaurant. I'm like, Dad, I got to do normal stuff with Mom too, right? Like, I got to spend time with her and not make it all about this all the time. He's like, I know, but I want to go out and skywatch. It's Easter weekend. I've waited the whole year for this. I'm dying, So we go to Mikasitas, we eat, and then we get back, and
And he's ready. He's ready to go.
Oh, no. It's happening. We parked the car, and I'm packed in the back. I'm a big guy. You might not tell from the camera, but I'm wide, and I'm packed in the back of this little car with my wife and with Teddy's freaking car seat, which is huge.
Pretty
and
big, yeah.
Yeah, there's not much space for me back there, and I'm like,
I can imagine.
I'm like cramped up in the car, like, and we park, and let's just say I was so cramped we couldn't get our seatbelts on back there. We're just riding a mile down the road. We parked the car. Dad steps out of the car. He's like, Ryan, get out now. And I'm like, oh my God, stuff's falling out of my pockets because I'm trying to get up. And my phone drops out into the dirt, and I'm, oh shit. And I'm reaching, I'm like, it's so dark I can't see anything. He's rushing me. I said, Dad, this feels like I said it after, but I was like, Dad, this feels like 2008, man. Back when he was like shouting at us to get out of bed at 4 a.m. because it was so, get out here now.
Desperate.
Yeah. Well, and lo and behold, I finally get out of the car, and I scramble to get out there after about 10 or 15 seconds because I'm so packed in there. And there was this extremely bright blue and white orb, like bigger. I've seen one bigger, and that one was enormous, as Teddy likes to say now. That's his favorite word now.
Yeah.
He says enormous.
Enormous.
It's enormous. I've seen one bigger orb, and it was enormous. It was the one I tell about in 2008 on Dad's birthday, the morning of Dad's birthday in 2008. Me and Jeremy and Dad. And Emily says she was there too, but I just don't remember it that way. It doesn't matter. And anyway, so I saw this orb that was huge. It was like literally could blot out the sky. It was so huge. And
Yeah.
it was over the Christmas tree farm behind our property. That's the biggest orb I've ever seen. This one,
Dang.
a few nights ago,
I didn't know that.
it was like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
on a school day. And you might not have even been home.
No.
And Dad literally came into my room at 4 a.m. and was like, get up now.
So I'm sorry.
And I scrambled and put my jeans on, and I ran out to the back door.
The biggest orb you've seen was
2008, the one I'm telling you about.
Okay.
It was so big.
Gotcha,
it literally, like, dude, I'm telling you, it was.
I was thinking that you were saying that it was this weekend.
No.
I was
I'm
like,
saying,
whoa,
no,
okay.
the one this weekend is the second biggest I've ever seen. That's the
okay.
point I'm trying to make.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, the one in 2008, it literally would have blotted out the sky. It was so big.
Dang.
It was super massive, like a freaking mothership orb. The
Wow.
one this weekend was probably the size of like a beach ball or something. It was huge. I mean, massive. And
Dang.
it was solid.
That's
it was
a good one.
stable. It was blue and white. And you know how it is. Normally we'll see orbs out in the woods around us, and they'll flash.
Yeah.
And it'll flash. And then it'll appear 10 feet away, and it'll flash. And then it'll streak. This one wasn't doing that. It was stable. It was just a light,
I've seen them like that too. Though.
and it was slowly moving through the woods, and
Yeah.
it would stop and react to us when we would get excited. And I swear to you, dude, I had chills, and I was looking at it, and my jaw was on the floor. And it's hard to do that for me, man. And you and
Yeah, it
all
is.
of us, after you've seen thousands and thousands, it gets hard to
Right.
blow your mind. And this one, I had chills. I was like, that's an entity. That is a being walking through the woods. Like, I
Wow.
swear, dude, if I had it was only about 30 or 40 feet away. You know where Mom and Dad park by the little basketball
Yeah.
goal concrete?
Oh, so it was behind Dad's
Behind the
workshop.
No. Mom and Dad park by the concrete where that old basketball goal is, right?
It was on that side of the road, though. Is what I mean. Like,
It was in the woods behind that.
Yeah, towards.
Wasn't
the
even
other
to the
guy's
shop.
property. Okay.
It was towards the kitchen,
Oh, okay.
right behind Mom and Dad's car where they park,
Wow.
in the woods in there. And I swear to you, dude, like if I had walked into the woods,
Oh yeah, because y'all were
I
just
could-
getting out of the car.
We just
y'all were
parked.
just standing by the car.
dude, we just parked, and Dad bolts out the car, and he's immediately like, "Get out here now!" I didn't have time to think.
Yeah.
I was fumbling to get out of the car, dropping all my shit. Could barely even get out, and had to get the baby out, and then I get out, and I could barely even get out the car fast enough. And he'd
Couldn't
been
even think.
staring at it, and I'm telling you, it was an entity. It was a massive orb, and it wasn't illuminating the whole forest around it. It was like it was a contained light, and it was slowly moving. And I watched it for minutes, dude. And even Jenny was like, "Whoa!" She was seeing it too. By the time she got out the car, Mom saw it, but then she ran inside because she had to go to the bathroom. And I was holding Teddy, and Teddy was like seeing it, and I was like, "Look, Teddy, it's an angel." And Teddy was like, "Where? I want to see Angel." I was like, "Look, right there." And he was like, "Oh my gosh, an angel." And Dad was like,
Wow.
Dad said it's the lady. He was like, "I'm telling you, it's the lady. It's the spirit of the lady. She's here." And then me and Dad and Jenny stayed out for like another few hours. We got Teddy inside, and then he would come back out, and I'd be like, look. And we're looking at orbs for hours. And Teddy's like, "Angel, there's an angel." And every time an airplane would be in the sky, he'd be like, "Is that an angel?" I'm like, "No, that's an airplane." He was all into it. And, oh my gosh, dude, we saw so many. So after we saw that one in the woods, that I swear to you, man, I was like, I just felt it in my being. I was like, this is an entity. This is not just some
Yeah, it's
flash.
not normal.
Like there's something there.
It's not what we normally see.
No.
It's a little different.
It was bizarre.
Yeah.
It was calling to me like there was something there. And Dad said he felt like it was the lady. He was like, "Dude, it's Easter.
Yeah.
This is it. Like
Easter
this."
is the day. It
Yeah,
always
I mean, it
is.
was Friday night before Easter, but still,
Okay,
I mean, it
right.
was like, this is it. Like, I'm telling you. He was like, "You have no clue." It was the same night as the cows when I heard the cows mooing, and I was like, "This is stupid. They're just cows. They're neighbors' cows." He's like, No, you don't get it."
Yeah,
Same
there
night,
was no
Friday
cows.
night, he was like, "Son, this is a miracle. This is the lady. You just saw her. You just saw her spirit." And I was like, this time around, I know my lesson. I was like, "I'll take it." I wasn't. It's the lady.
I'm happy
I
with
wasn't
it.
doubting, you know. And then we stayed out for a while, and there were these they look like yellow flames. Dad calls them these yellow flames. I'm sure you've seen them, and they just flash all around us in the woods, all around us in the trees, over the grass, right above our heads. And then we would see the orbs in the sky, and we saw ones that were different colors. You know, usually we see the orbs and they're like a white light.
Yeah.
This night, I forgot to say.
Or blue.
I forgot to say. Totally forgot this part.
Or orange.
I was so mind blown that when we saw what Dad said was the spirit of the lady in the woods, the blue and white big orb that was slowly moving through the woods, there was a red light in there too, flashing.
Wow.
I was so transfixed on the blue one, but Jenny was mind blown by the red one. I keep forgetting about it. You need to get her to tell
That's
you. But
crazy.
there was a flashing red light in there. Then I came to your house the next day, remember? And I was telling you, and I was mind blown. I was
yeah.
like, "Y'all got to come tonight." But you were busy. You had plans.
Family, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw dozens and dozens and dozens of orbs on Saturday night, even more than the first night.
Dang.
We didn't see anything that was like the giant,
Yeah.
beach ball size.
Just standard stuff.
Standard, but with a lot of excitement and flashes all around us for hours. And Jeremy's girlfriend, shout out Jackie, Jeremy's new girlfriend, who's absolutely wonderful, and we love her.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Dude, she saw every one of them.
Perfect for him.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
She saw every one of them.
Now he doesn't ever have to wonder.
Yeah, he was
If
kind of
she
nervous a little bit. He was
I
like,
bet.
at the end of the night, he was like, I'm not going to lie, bro. I was a little.
That's how you know she's the right one.
Oh, yeah.
If
I
she's
said
seeing
that
him,
too. I was
yeah.
like, I think I said that to Jenny.
Well, and because her name is Jackie.
yeah.
Why is it that every single one of us dates somebody with a J? Jackie, Jack, Jessica,
And Jenny.
and Jenny.
Yeah, that's weird, huh?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Weird, dude.
Jackie and Jack.
That's how I knew it was the right one.
Yeah. Me
Her
too.
name's Jackie.
Immediately,
It's
I was
gotta
like,
be
oh my
right.
God.
It's meant to be.
Yeah. But she saw, God, probably 50 orbs that night and was just,
That's awesome.
she wasn't freaking out. She wasn't like, I mean, freaking out in a good way.
Yeah.
She wasn't,
She was chill about it.
she was chill. She was open to
Because
it.
I've seen people freak out.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen people get really excited. Like freaking out.
I've seen people break down and cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've seen that together. I don't want
Mhm.
to name any names.
Yeah,
But
yeah. That's okay.
no, she was cool. She was just seeing them and like, whoa, there. She had the psionics and she
psionics.
was all in on it, dude. And then the next day they sent me a picture. Jeremy, as a surprise gift, he bought her a podcast shirt.
Aw.
Next day I get let me show you, man. Next day I get a picture from her and she's wearing the shirt and I thought it was the sweetest thing.
That's
She's all in, man. She was initiated into the family that weekend on
freaking
Easter. Yeah.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so now we got our crew.
Yeah. Jessica wears your shirts all the time.
Yeah.
All the time,
know.
dude.
She tells me.
Often.
She
yeah.
rotates every day between
Yep.
your company
Yep.
and the podcast, and I
Mhm.
love that.
All the time, dude. She's one of your biggest supporters.
I know it, and I'm one of hers. But yeah, it was cool, man. Easter was definitely a miracle. It was unbelievable, and we saw so many orbs. I saw flashes, streaks in the sky. I saw blue orbs, orange orbs, green orbs, red orbs, white orbs. Apparently the lady, although I didn't see, a shining woman like Dad
Right,
saw.
right.
It was a bright light.
It's very unusual.
But I'm telling you, bro, I mean, if this psychic shit is real, which I believe it is, I mean, the History Channel proved with Dad with the EEG scan that when he sees these orbs, they give him messages in his brain, and I don't question it. And I
Yeah.
don't question that may be happening with us too. And I'm telling you, when I saw that bright white and blue light, immediately what came into my mind was, this is not an ordinary orb. This is a being.
Yeah.
This is something in
And then
the
it probably
forest.
was.
And then Dad was like, it's the lady.
So that's what he was thinking too.
Yeah,
Both of y'all thought the same thing.
right.
Wow.
I wasn't thinking it was the lady.
Right.
I was
right.
just like, this is a being. This is not normal. This is an entity.
Well, they
I
can
mean-
emit light.
The way it moved was freaky. It was methodical and reacting to me and would flash at me and then move a little bit and kind of bob. And I went back the next day. There is nothing in that line of sight. There is nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing back there.
You'd have to go
It's just woods, pretty much.
500 to 1,000 feet to the right or to the left for there to be any properties.
Yeah, and you could see that what you were looking at was right there.
Right. Yeah, straight back where I was looking.
Yeah.
There was
It
nothing.
was somewhat close. So
It was very
there would have had
close.
to been a person shining some sort of light.
There'd have to be
into
some
the-
dude in a ninja suit
Yeah.
with a flashlight
Right.
for that to have been
right
replicated.
there. And the
Not
flashlight
happening.
wouldn't even replicated it.
Right. It would have illuminated the whole forest. It
Yeah.
wasn't even doing that. It behaved different.
That's awesome.
Anyway, people wanted to
That's
know if
pretty
something
cool.
happened on Easter. Yes, it did.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, when you came and told me about it that next day, I was kind of mind blown. It's like, what? But at the same time, not.
Right.
Something always happens around Easter. Always.
Yep.
Mm,
Always.
Excuse me.
Always. Well, dang, man.
Do you have any other questions for me?
I don't think so. I
You
feel
sure?
I feel really good about everything. I mean, how about you? You feel like you?
I feel great. I think I did all right.
Yeah, I think you did excellent.
I probably look like a ding dong today because I didn't shave real pretty, but Derek thinks I look good.
Derek's right,
He's
man.
sitting with us, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's going to make a great episode.
absolutely,
Because
dude.
he's been watching for close to 20 years
Yeah.
from the outside. He knew me before
Well, really,
the
from the
UFOs.
inside.
Yeah, and well, from the inside, yeah, but still, Yeah, he knew me before, and he saw me after.
And during.
You know, through it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
He can tell you how I was, how I am, what's happened, how I've changed. It's always crazy to hear him explain it to me.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. You feel resolved, like you feel
Man,
good?
I do feel a lot better. I used to tell myself that I would never tell the story.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't for many, many, many years. So it is crazy to be in the public eye talking at all. For
Right.
me, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I had other plans.
But I like it. I mean, I feel like it needs to be said. People need to know, even at my expense. You know, I may look in a way that I don't care to look like, but people need to know.
Yeah. It's true.
They
That's what I'm
deserve
saying.
to hear the truth.
You went through all that for a reason, so that you can share it with other people and enlighten them.
Yep. So something is going on. There's without a doubt 100% something freaking crazy is going on, and people need to know. They can decipher it for themselves. You know.
I tend to think we haven't even scratched the surface.
We haven't.
And that it's going to
Barely.
get crazier and crazier. And this past Friday night was a major indication for me. Oh, we haven't mentioned this yet. So this is going to air after the fact. But I just wanted to say this weekend. So right now it is Wednesday, April 3rd when we're recording this. Also, how about that? We're recording on a Wednesday. Pretty sick, right? It used to be Saturdays, 3 in a row, up till late at night. I mean, this is nice, man. We're living the life since Nick moved here. Anyway, so this weekend is the Azalea Festival. Junior's coming. Dad and Mom are coming. Derek's coming. Alex is coming. Nick is coming, and Casey, and then Jeremy, and then me and Jenny and Emily will arrive Sunday because we have an event out of town. But my whole point is I'm so excited because I talked it over with Dad for the last week or so, and we agreed that Sunday night all the people who are still local, who've traveled from out of town, I've put the word out in the Discord, and anybody that I happen to see at the booth on Sunday, I'm going to be spreading the word, like pulling people aside. We're organizing a skywatch on the beach. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah. Sunday night.
Yeah. And if you can't be there, that's okay. I mean, if you got to go back to
Yeah.
Fayetteville Sunday and come back Monday, that's fine.
That's probably what's going to
But
happen.
it's for them, because
Yeah,
I feel
I wish
moved.
we were doing it Saturday night.
You certainly can. I just won't be there.
Yeah.
I can't organize it.
That sucks.
But, I mean, you can.
Me and Alex.
Alex is saying they can't. Yeah, that's up to you guys. You do whatever you
Derek.
want to do. I'm just saying I'm going to be there Sunday, so I'm organizing it
Oh,
for
yeah.
Sunday.
Perfect.
Dad'll be here. Y'all talk amongst yourselves and figure out what you want to do.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, you're going to be exhausted. And I think the Azalea Fest ends Friday and Saturday at like 10 p.m.
Hmm.
And then
Does
you got,
it?
yeah, I think so.
Friday and Saturday night?
Yeah. But then Sunday ends at like 5 or 6.
Huh.
So that's why it's a little easier on Sunday.
Well, we're going to be working
But-
late.
It don't get dark till 8 anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the festival's going to end at like 10.
Right.
You guys are going
right.
to be too exhausted to go entertain crowds of people. I'm just speculating. You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I plan Sunday because I'll be
Oh.
there Sunday.
We may be able to sky watch at the tent.
I
It's
mean,
probably going to be pretty bright.
hey, I mean, anything can happen, bro.
Yeah, you never know.
Anything can happen. I have seen orbs downtown. When I saw Robert Plant and Allison Krauss, I've told this story recently on the Message of the Music episode.
Yeah, I mean, we will be on the Cape Fear River.
Yeah, I've seen
Wow.
orbs over the Cape Fear River, over Robert Plant, and that was
Me
the
too.
night that we got the confirmation of
And-
we got confirmation that the motion picture was
Oh,
a
yeah.
deal. I saw orbs that night
Really?
over the Led Zeppelin singer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Robert Plant. He's still alive
Cool.
and he tours.
I know Emily has seen orbs at a concert
And
before
Jeremy.
as well.
Jeremy.
And Jeremy.
Yep. At a
Well,
Kruwangbin
I need to go to
concert.
a concert then.
An outside venue.
An outside concert.
But anyway, my whole point is this: by the time this episode airs, it will have already happened. But I just thought you guys would like to know the update. We're trying. We really do care, and we really are sincere when we say we want to do some sort of public sky watching thing. But our lives are just so busy. This is the perfect opportunity. People are moving from out or coming in from out of town. I was very moved by that. So I've already put out the word. If you're in the Discord, you've already seen all this, and we're gonna try to do some sort of public skywatching thing if the weather's good. So hopefully that'll go well. And if so, we'll talk about it in a future episode. And either way, we'll talk about it if we get to do it. So I'm excited about that. And otherwise, man, I mean, I think it's been an amazing episode. I think it's probably the best one yet.
This one?
Yeah.
Best one with me.
Oh, the best one yet. Best one with me.
Perfect.
Seriously.
I doubt that, but
Well,
it was
we'll
pretty good.
see.
It feels good.
We'll see.
We will.
You know, but
The last one was pretty good. It was epic.
yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I really dreaded that episode before it ever aired. I thought a lot about, do I really want to do this? Do I not want to do this? But then I didn't want to let you down. And I knew it needed to be done, but for my own image, I'm a business owner and I got a new family and all. Do I really want to do this again? But I'm glad I did.
Good.
I'm glad I did.
Good.
And I didn't watch it for the longest time. I know I said that, but when I went back and watched it, I was proud of myself. I did good.
Yeah, you did.
I was worried for nothing.
Yeah, you did really good.
I thought so too.
I worry about every single piece of content we ever put out for nothing.
Good. You should.
No, I mean, I worry
That's
about.
good.
Ask Alex.
Well, you should. You should care. That means you care.
Well, it's not care, it's worry. Like, oh my God, I'm going to ruin everything. It looks bad and this and that and the other. It's just anxiety.
No.
It's just my own worst enemy. It took me till 3 years in to finally stop asking all the time. Was that a good one?
Yeah.
It's just natural. Now I still think it, but I just don't always ask anymore. But
I think you're right. It was a great episode.
oh, yeah. Yeah. This one's going to go down. It's going to throw down. And then we're going to hoe down.
Yeah. I'll be there for the hoedown.
Yeah, this weekend.
Sweet.
All right, man. Well, you know how we end them, right?
Yeah.
You do.
I think so.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
We'll give it
Together.
to 'em.
All at one time.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys. Toodaloo.
I love my cheesy ending rituals.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Peace.